Hey, I'm Guy.
I'm John.
It's our YouTube channel. Subscribe to it and give this video a like.
Yes, also check out a podcast below in the description by that guy and this guy. It's good.
We're brought to you by DraftKings. Get in our game. MyBookie.ag, promo code HAM1. American-Giant, promo code HAM. Appreciate everybody. So you sent me on Tuesday the video of Bryson DeChambeau swinging out of his kneecaps while on the driving range. VJ Singh watching.
It was Monday.
This could be one of the most. If this guy wins playing like that, the Masters, could you imagine?
Yesterday, in my Instagram stories, Bryson did the equivalent of a retweet on his story of his guy Cuomo, the swing coach that he works with, or his mental coach, just his coach, taking a picture clearly of one of his swings, setting a record on the TrackMan of the swing speed. And and then Bryson added a little rocket, right, emoji. Mm-hmm. And the point is, and that thing went pretty viral on Monday. If he is planning, like, he swings harder than everyone else, that to me for Bryson was extreme. Like, that was eye-opening how hard is he really going to swing like that? Because if he does, and he were to win the Masters, it would be one of the crazier stories ever. Because I think he talked some shit last time, which I don't even know if he's gone to the podium yet. No, actually, I saw some clips yesterday because he said after winning the U.S. Open, which was obviously a goal growing up in America, not that the Masters wasn't, but like, this is my number one goal, to try to be a Masters champion now, right? Like, that's something to add to my resume now. I'm a USAM champ. I'm a U.S. Open champ. I'm an NCAA champ. Win the Masters. I mean, just that alone, if you were to win the Masters and never, because every one of my, when I just retweeted or send to you or send to people, everyone's responding, text messages, Instagram, like, how, and you even texted me back, like, is he going to blow out an ACL? Like, that is not, it's not a sustainable thing to do. But can he capture? I mean, he was 11-1 when I looked yesterday. He's now 9-1. MyBookie.ag, promo code HAM1. I do like him this week just based on that he's a huge data guy. And data guys, if you follow baseball, the Billy Beans, the Farhans, the Friedmans, they like sample sizes. And part of like the fall, getting the double Masters, is he got to have a little sample size as a new human. His golf, he doesn't play like he ever played before. So it's like some lines, some angles. I saw Phil say today, like, part of the course being rock hard and playing like concrete, the key are angles into holes. And Bryson now, his angles when he hitting drives, knowing what to hit long, knowing what not to. Because he won when he won the Arnold Palmer, he was hitting driver on certain holes, but he was smart on other. Like, he's actually like not some crazy SOB off the tee. Like, he will pull out another club if he has to. He will just do it if he goes, this statistically gives me the best. Which, listen, I've really come around on him. Like, he might be a weirdo. It's the nature of being an individual sport. What he's doing is 100% mesmerizing.
Mesmerizing, right? And I respect it. Like, there is no question that he cares about winning. The idea that we would mock somebody for caring too much about competing and winning because what is he doing out there on the driving range at sundown? Come on, bro. Stop trying to show everybody up. It's like, nah, he's working. So whatever. It works for him. It works for him. It has worked for him. He won the U.S. Open last year. Can he win the Masters doing it? I think the U.S. Open definitely felt like it validated him. I think winning this course, given that historically you don't need to be – it's one thing to be a bomber. It's another thing you don't need to be a bomber on this course. So to play in this really creative way, it's not just that he hits it further than everybody. It is thinking. He is trying to outthink and be out creative. Now, I think the question I have is, does playing in the 2020 Masters – help you in the 2021 Masters, right? Like, Cameron Smith had all 4 rounds under 70. First person to ever do it. He finished.
He's on my DraftKings team. Just kidding. Maybe.
Okay,
but he's a
5
risky
shots
pick.
Behind DJ.
Yeah.
Like, in other words, this guy did something no one else has done. He wasn't close to winning. Like, could you really, if somebody goes 5 rounds under 70 this week, they're going to win the tournament.
Well, I did this podcast with Jake, my golf teacher, Drivebox. He does a podcast with an unnamed, he's this big personality guy from Hawaii who's a professional in Hawaii.
Okay.
And
And
he was saying
he stays anonymous.
he stays anonymous. Yeah. And his take on Cameron Smith was guys like that are actually built for when courses get really hard, even though it was easier in the fall. Because in Australia, everything's rock hard, ton of wind. They're actually used to playing hard golf because the conditions over there aren't plush. It's actually kind of a drier, harder. Like his point on Cameron Smith, the dude's a baller. Like he's going to be good. Like, and if after that, and he was always a guy in DraftKings I'd stumble by and then I'd notice on some leaderboards. I've kept an eye on him. He's just good, guy. Like he's just one of those guys that might just be like Europe, I guess he's not European, Australian, like a Scotty Scheffler. He's just going to be a factor, He might just be good. Like think about the guys that were with DJ, Sanjay and him. Like both those Sanjay and Cameron Smith might just be top 20 players moving forward, right? Like that's what's hard to kind of decipher. But the difference is like Bryson Cameron Smith was good. Bryson, for his standards, was awful. And was it awful just because like it was such a learning experience? Or would he say, well, actually the softness kind of ruined, like I want it to be hard. Look at the US Open. It was the hardest conditions known to man. And that's where I really separated from the field. It was easy for Cameron Smith or whoever to just be above me because like look, Tiger had the 10 on hole 12 and then he birdied 5 of the last 6 holes. It's like it was conducive to doing things that neutralized my greatest gift, which is Bay Hill, flying it over the water, right? Just doing things that other people can't do beside maybe 2 or 3 if they try. But like Tony Finau and DJ don't even try to do that. And like I think you bring it up, the bomber thing. I think Tiger 19 was not that. I think we think of Tiger like a bomber, but that version of him was actually like Tony Finau's flying away by him, right? Tiger was really battling Molinari, who is a small little kind of like scrapper. Like that was really, looking back, it felt like Molinari was going to beat Tiger, and Molinari was the furthest guy back in the group off the tee. So that's what makes this tournament like it's a thinking man's course. But that's where, to speak to Bryson, he's a thinking man's golfer. He just does it in a way different way. I'd say he's the most. I mean, I guess there'd probably be maybe Phil or other guys, but like his preparation is the most unique probably in at least modern day golf. You'd argue in sports. I bet if you just started polling people that are just big sports fans and, baseball, basketball, even football, they're like, I kind of like that guy. Like that's something there. He interests successful people. Like to me, they gravitate toward him. If you look at like Vijay Singh, the first thing I did was like, Vijay, didn't he win a lot? And he's like, yeah, 35 wins, 3 majors.
Well,
Phil, Tiger like
John, he's had so much success. Like different gets made fun of until it's different and winning. And now everybody's interested. And I think what makes him unique is he is physical. Like usually the most physical people are not the most advanced brain. And when I say advanced brains, I don't mean he's smarter necessarily than everybody, but his brain just works differently. And he's obviously willing to do things with his brain in addition to his brawn. That combination is kind of a rare combination, right? So
well, it's why they become very special. Like in I would say in football is a good example. A lineman who is really, really intelligent, Michael Strahan becomes a star. Joe Staley in our backyard was just this unique personality, and part of what made him so special is like he was the biggest, strongest guy on the field, right?
I think LeBron, like some of the criticism with LeBron early in his career is like, why does he play basketball this way? Which was team basketball, passing, trying to create shots for others. Like, no, take over. Well, it turned out he's the best of all the worlds, right? Physically, he is so beyond. But also he sees the floor, he passes, he can make the passes because of his physicality. He's just the total package. Just a total package. And if Bryson wins the Masters, now has 2 majors in less than a calendar year, could he? I mean, it's like if it works and if he takes, where did he finish last year? November?
Yeah, I mean, he was way back. I think I looked earlier this week. It was like T40. I mean, he was not a factor.
If he goes from 40 to 1 in the course of a few months at the same event, like I think that's pretty telling that he could make that dramatic an improvement.
I think he would probably just I was really off. It was just I had a bad couple days. I had an uphill battle. Like it wasn't reflective. He justified like I'm playing really well now coming in. Remember the Masters? It was like they played the season and then they had like a couple week break till the thing in November. It was like we're in like week 10 of football season. It was weird the timing, for some of those guys. And he's a peak guy. I mean, do you think he deserves to be the betting favorite right now?
Yes,
It kind of feels right.
I do.
Yeah.
Yep. Another guy. How about we talk about top 10 bets. It was a surprise to nobody when Dustin Johnson won. He was tied for second in 19. He was tied for 10 in 18. He was tied for fourth in 16. And he was tied for sixth in 15. So,
and he had just last year won the FedEx Cup. He beat the shit out of everyone in the fall. I mean, he was the best player he is the best player in the world, but he was dominating. Dominating.
Would not shock me at all if he wins, but how is that not the recipe for top 10? Wait, he's dominating and his history says he plays really well here?
Yeah, I think he's the safest bet.
For a top 10?
Last year I won last year for a top 10 because he's not playing that great right now, but I think you go off course history. I remember last year one of my big hits was I put $100 on him. I won 1,000, but I put $500 on him to top 10, and that was stealing. Now, last year it was, I think I got it at plus 110. When I looked yesterday, it was minus 120. So I was like, my bookie's catching on here.
Yep.
To me, the top 10's like, the way I look at a top 10 is it's where I would take a long shot, because I think I looked at the long shots in recent memory. I mean, Tiger won. Tiger even in 19 was 14-1 because like the Cowboy Yankee thing, he probably shouldn't have been, even though he was playing a lot better, but he was such a bet heavy guy. Dustin was, one of the heavy favorites last year. I kind of like going with a guy like who's like an 80 to 100-1, who I think like Gary Woodland was just awesome at the Valero. Feels like he just is a guy that has won at the U.S. Open. If the conditions are hard, could just kind of grind it out and be a fringe top 10 guy, 8-1. Kokrak just has a lot of game, 8-1. Like I kind of like taking the equivalent of betting on a guy to win, trying to get, you're not going to get like 20-1 odds on a top 10 with a solid player. But if I can get anywhere between 6 to 9-1 on a guy that like I feel has a Hideki last year at the U.S. Open, I think I got like 8-1, and he fucking double bogeyed 18. But I was right in the mix. Like I want to feel good about a guy that also has a little return. That's my personal top 10 philosophy. The other philosophy I'm going to implement is I used to bet a couple like long shots. I want to say long shots like Jason Day. I feel like I bet on him a lot the last like couple years, and because his range is like he's one of the better players, but he's like 50-1. But a lot of times he'll finish like 7th or 3rd or 12th, so he's in the mix, but he's never going to win. I'm going to pick a guy like that to top 5. Be like, this is the week that he kind of peaks, but maybe he doesn't win, but he finishes 3rd. Which for him, he'd be like, well, I made him $1.1 million, but you can profit off that. And you can get like a Jason Day top 5 at like 8-9-1 or 6-1. One guy I think that is just playing really well, who's played well at hard courses, who's played well now. He almost beat Morikawa on, is it Concession, I think, the place in Florida that was really hard, that they all said was hard. Then he just won the match play. He's had a good year. And to me, like there is something that he's from the South. He went to Florida. He likes that kind of environment. Is Billy Horschel to top 5, 14-1. Like that's pretty good odds for probably, you'd say, of all the American golfers in the world, there aren't 5 playing better than him right now. His confidence coming in, like I just won the fucking match play. I went toe to toe with Colin a month ago. I just think him specifically, for a guy who's won the FedEx Cup before, like it's not a crazy, like he does have game, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he's hot. I'm just trying to ride the hot hand. I'm not like some Billy Horschel truther, but at 14-1 top 5, just a guy that would it shock you if you're just like he's in the mix?
No, because he's been in pressure spots before and won.
Yeah.
How about JT? I mean, to me, I like a guy who has played well. He finished 4th last year, not a fluke. And has just been through a lot. And it's like if the Masters was, 2 weeks after Polo dropped him and his grandfather died, I wouldn't feel that way. But it does feel like he's kind of come out on the other side. Maybe the Tiger stuff has actually in a weird way helped him, like seeing Tiger be okay, seeing Tiger on the road to recovery. He's obviously visited him. I feel like JT's in a good place given actually how mentally weird, how taxing this year's been for him.
I think, Guy, there is potential for him, like in 5 years. Like, remember JT's 2021 when he won the Players, when he won the Masters, and when he won the U.S. Open, and he helped the USA Ryder Cup win it. Like he was just America's best player, because he was kind of viewed that way 2 years ago. And he had some moments in the fall, and then this kind of derailed his early season. And now it feels like that. I mean, he put on a clinic at the Players, and he's just an elite blue chip. Like this guy has been like him and Spieth were playing junior tournaments when they were 12 together. Like this guy was bred to be. When you and I are 67 years old and you just go, oh, how many Justin Thomas wikis or whatever the wiki is in 2060? I bet it says 5, 6 majors for the guy, right? Like he feels like when I check Gary Player or Lee Trevino, like I should check Justin Thomas when it's all said and done. He's like 55 years old, like 4 or 5 majors next to his name. And maybe this is the year where it's like he was the player of the year. He rattled off the players and 2 majors. And why wouldn't this just kind of bleed into it, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Think how hard the players was. I mean, that place was eating people alive.
Well, how about Concession, John? You remember who finished second at Concession?
Who was that?
Brooks Koepka.
Knee surgery.
They got engaged.
He did.
Positive vibes, 25-1.
Yeah, she Instagrams a lot about him.
Yeah.
What do you say his odds were?
25.
Well, if he had been fully healthy and just won Phoenix and just played solid since, what do you think he'd be? Like 11, 12-1 in that range?
Yeah, he would be there with Rahm and Spieth and JT.
The knee surgery is a little weird.
Well, it is, but I just
weird in the
we're
fact
trying to
that
find.
like it.
I think the first thing anybody
there.
looks for is where's the elite, where's the value in elite golfers? There used to be some value in DJ. Remember?
Yeah, they're not now. I'll give you a guy there's value in. This is a repeat place, right? Bubba's won twice. Adam Scott's always in the mix. He's won once. Like he could win again. Tiger, Phil. A lot of guys are repeat champions. Faldo. Patrick Reed is an elite player. And to me, of all the guys, like they never put him in the teens. Maybe people just don't enjoy betting him. I think was it 28, 30-1? Like his odds were like pretty fucking good.
Yeah, Reed is 33-1.
I mean, he's an elite player in tough courses. Like he's another guy, you might hate him. When the dust settles, Patrick Reed's gonna have 3 majors. He just will. Now there might be controversies around one of them, but he's got 3 majors written all over. He's just too good.
Yeah,
and it's just his odds. Like to bet JT, my $100 only wins $1,100. To bet Patrick Reed, I triple that. That's pretty crazy for a guy who's won this tournament.
It is good value. I'll give you one more. Actually, slightly longer odds. Reed at 33-1. This guy's 35-1. I like this guy a lot as a golfer. A lot of people do. I'm going to apply the Baylor theory to Daniel Berger. Baylor watched Gonzaga celebrate a championship on Saturday night. Then it turned out Gonzaga actually had to play Baylor. Baylor kicked their ass. Daniel Berger belonged in the Masters based on a lot of standards last year. Daniel Berger did not get to play in the Masters last year, even though he had a great year, but because it was such a weird year, he got left out because the cut had already happened, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So Daniel Berger had to watch, and it turned out he missed a Masters that maybe could have won, but it wasn't the worst one to miss as it pertains to this year. He has had some success. 3 years ago, I think, was it, or maybe 2018, I think. I got to go back and look, was his best finish. He hasn't really been like in position to win it, but he's played well there before. I think that's a pretty unique dynamic. Here's this guy who had to watch the Masters. I would imagine he's been thinking about this for a long time. And he's a really good golfer. I like Daniel Berger for that reason.
As won Pebble this year, right? I mean, he's a good player. He's an elite player. From the South, went to Florida State. I do think when you just go to the Power 5 schools in the South, one of the perks, you just end up playing Augusta. Like his first time playing Augusta was not this week.
16, he finished T10.
Or whenever he became a pro.
Right,
like he'd played Augusta when he was younger.
He finished T10 there in 16, T27 in 17, T32 in 18.
I wonder if some people run into each other like, yeah, where'd you go to school? I went to Cal. Where'd you guys play? Like TPC Hardin Park. Yeah, major course. Where'd you guys play? I went to Georgia. Augusta.
Basically, just look at like the last 5 PGA events. We used to play 3 of them.
Yeah, Kiowa, Myrtle Beach, kind of that little range. We rotate there, and when we played the SEC schools in Florida, we hit up all the sweet tournaments that are courses down there. Like, yeah, life's pretty good.